Hey guys, Ben here and welcome back to another video. We are finally back for another video. We're going to be talking about The Flash in today's video because Grant Gustin and the rest of the Flash cast have commented on whether they would return for Arrowverse revival. So if you do go on to enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like and a comment and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos later this year. Okay, so once again, apologies for the lack of uploads over the last couple of weeks. Just been too busy, and also there's not been too much to cover, but we've got quite a lot of topics to cover over the next week because there is the Supergirl set photos that we need to talk about. We got this video and we got a couple of other things we need to go over, and of course if you want me to cover other shows, maybe even a show like Suits LA which Stephen Amell is in, let me know down in the comments below because I would like to cover other stuff and expand the channel because obviously since the Arrowverse we are kind of waiting for the DCU to kick off, but it's not really properly kicked off yet. So let's go ahead and get into today's main topic. This is from Andy, my good friend, and his article is over at Screen Rant. The title of the article is Grant Gustin and the Flash cast address whether they would return for an Arrowverse revival movie. So all the cast members, if you guys didn't know, are doing a lot of different panels and a lot of Comic Cons around the world. I know for a fact that Grant Gustin, Candace, Tom Cavanagh and Danielle Panabaker are all coming to the UK in May. They're going to be here for Liverpool Comic Con. I'm going to try and go there. Obviously, if you guys can come, try and attend the Comic Con event because that's going to be your best chance to meet Grant Gustin, Candace Patton, Danielle Panabaker, Tom Cavanagh, if you guys are Europe or UK based. So over in America, they actually did this fan expo event in Cleveland, and so there was quite a few fans there. Obviously people were recording it and taking photos and getting quotes about what they're saying because obviously they're going to be quizzed on different things to do with the Flash and they're always going to be asked, would you ever return? And that's something that they did get asked at this panel. So let's go ahead and break down Andy's article. So it starts like this. Grant Gustin, along with several members of the Flash cast, have addressed the chances of their return for a DC revival movie after their initial Arrowverse ending. So it's actually interesting that Andy wrote DC revival movie. I guess that's just the question that was asked because we all know that they were on TV and there is a chance that if they do return in the DCU, it could be a revival TV show, but also, you know, Grant could be the Flash in the Flash movie, so it would remain to be seen if he would be playing the same Arrowverse version of the character, but also would they do a like straight up Arrowverse movie? That would be insane if they did that one day. But let's continue with this. So through its run as part of the Arrowverse franchise, The Flash was one of the most beloved shows on the CW's superhero universe, featuring Gustin as the fastest man alive for nearly a decade. However, despite airing 184 episodes, many fans have expressed wanting to see a revival of some kind in the future. We can all agree on that. That would be absolutely brilliant if they did that because the Arrowverse was such a big part of all of our lives and it really has a place in DC fans' hearts. So at this past weekend's Fan Expo in Cleveland, The Flash had a reunion panel where Gustin, Candace Patton, Danielle Panabaker and Tom Cavanagh were present to look back at the series. So they're all seemingly traveling together, which is quite nice. So when asked if they would be down to return as their respective characters in an animated Flash movie, which is very interesting because obviously we've had lots of talk to do with Smallville doing an animated sequel and that being a potential way for Smallville to come back, which is probably because of their ages and it would be hard to do a continuation of Smallville since it's been so long. It would be way less harder for the Flash to actually do that because it's only been like 2 years or something like that. So when asked if they would be down to return as their respective characters in an animated Flash movie serving as a follow-up to the original CW series, each actor shared the following. Grant Gustin said yeah. Tom Cavanagh said 100% absolutely. Danielle Panabaker said I'm available, and Grant Gustin continued by saying we are actors with families. Candace Patton jumped in saying we got bills to pay. Tom Cavanagh says we are all available, we are in, fully in. So there you have it. That is the Flash cast and their opinion on would they return if they were asked. So they're all saying yeah, like Grant Gustin says yeah straight up. Tom Cavanagh 100% absolutely. Danielle Panabaker I'm available. Candace Patton we got bills to pay. they want to return, whether it's out of making some extra money or actually all reuniting on the screen, because it has been a good few years since The Flash actually ended. So having them all return together, like, that would be just a huge event, which would obviously have DC fans absolutely buzzing, but I think it would be a good experience for them to return as well. But let's talk about the idea of an animated Flash movie, because it's not something that I've thought about so far. We know that Wally West was included in the DCU recently in Creature Commandos. It was a brief cameo, you could barely see him, he was in the background of a scene, and there was tons of DC heroes. So that's like the first time we've seen a Flash animated in a while, since like Young Justice on TV. Obviously we've seen the Flash in the DC animated movies recently, and that's just a totally different version of the Flash. But I'm not sure if the question is regarding them returning in like an Elseworlds Flash movie that's a continuation, because that would be a follow-up, or being in like a completely separate Flash movie that is attached to the DCU. I feel like if there is any possibility of this happening, whether it's a TV show or film, I think it's more likely to be that is going to be an Elseworlds project, considering if you were bringing all the cast back, it wouldn't make much sense to retcon everything. However, as I've said before, I think there is a very high possibility that Grant Gustin could return just by himself and actually be the main Flash of the DCU. We've all theorized about that, we've all talked about that. I know you guys would like to see it and I would like to see it, but I do think that's actually a feasible possibility. It would be more tough to get all the cast members back and have it be set in the DCU, as I said, but Grant just playing the Flash, it makes sense. Why go with someone else when you have someone so popular? And clearly, with the Ezra Miller Flash film, it was pretty clear to see what fans wanted, and they want Grant Gustin back as the Flash. So the Flash series finale, which aired as part of season 9, ran on the CW back in May 2023. Currently right now is March 2025, so that is coming up to 2 years since it ended, and it was actually the longest running Arrowverse series and probably the most popular Arrowverse series out of all of them. So let's continue with this article by Andy and get his thoughts on what the Flash cast response actually means for the Arrowverse show. So, as Gustin's version of the Flash has always been highly favored by DC audiences, it is no surprise that fans, whether it is an animation or live action, want to see the series come back in any capacity. Given how the Arrowverse has done a number of animated projects, from Vixen to Freedom Fighters The Ray, it's within reason that this franchise could continue The Flash or any of the Berlanti DC TV shows in the world of animation. However, one thing should be pointed out here, the CW would not be doing this. They're clearly not in the Arrowverse game, they're not in the DC game, because they don't want to spend that money. So it would be different from Vixen or Freedom Fighters The Ray. If this animated Flash movie or TV show were to ever happen, it would have to be linked to the DCU, it would have to be an Elseworlds project and come out on HBO Max or in cinemas. So an animated Flash movie would also be more financially doable as opposed to live action, which comes at bigger expenses, which is very true. So it's also crucial to take into account that having the Arrowverse make a comeback through animation would fit DC Studios' Elseworlds umbrella, as I've said before, while James Gunn's DC Universe gets up and running. Having Gustin return as the Flash alongside the characters that fans spent a decade following on the CW would be more than reasonable for DC Studios to pursue in terms of their Elseworlds banner, which I 100% agree with. So good stuff here, Andy. With Gustin's considerable popularity, it makes much more sense to revive his world as opposed to revisiting the DCEU's Flash after that movie's failure, of course. So yeah, I completely agree with all of this. I think it makes sense to stick it under the Elseworlds banner if they want to bring back the cast, but as I said, you know, Grant Gustin could play the main Flash as well. But at the end of the day, I think it's just nice to hear that the Flash cast is so open to coming back and them all just being like, yeah, straight up, I would come back. Let's do this. If this was actually a thing, we know Grant has commented on he would like more creative control, potentially if he were to return as the Flash. So that could be something. He could be one of the showrunners of the show, or, you know, one of the producers of the show, so he could have a little bit more of a say. Also, I would guess some of the other cast members like Danielle Panabaker would be heavily involved because she directed a lot of The Flash. So potentially with them being so willing to come back, they could actually bring this project together and bring it to life if they want to work on it together. Just kind of like what they're doing in Smallville right now with Michael Rosenbaum, with Tom Welling, and the old Smallville showrunners. They are all working together. They got a pitch. Yes, it's on the back burner for now, but potentially one day they'll get that show up and running sometime in the future. But that pretty much does it for this video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like and a comment and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos. But for now, you can click on the top right corner of the screen to watch my latest video, and I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.